Well, today started just like almost any other day of this trip so far. Got up pretty early and rolled out of the campground well before sunrise, and I headed over to the east side of the park. And the one particular area where I shot a lot of photos yesterday, I wanted to return there and see if I can find some other subjects. And in particular, I was looking for something having to do with like rocks and mud and leaves and some of the stuff that's on the floor of the washes. And part of the reason for that is that it's supposed to be pretty windy today, and so that would be a good subject where I don't have to worry about wind moving stuff around. But before I did that, well, I had to load film. And I always talk about how much I hate loading film, but on this trip it hasn't been so bad. I think it's just been because I've been replenishing the film that I've shot, and there's some degree of safety in knowing that that film is now being put into a box where it's going to be safe inside the car, and I'm not walking around with it anymore. So I loaded up 4 sheets of Velvia 50, and I loaded up 2 sheets of Ektar. So I figured having my film holders be completely filled would be a good thing. And I, on several occasions today, I scouted around, sometimes with my lightweight pack, just kind of looking at other areas I've been in the past, and eventually I found a subject that I really liked. And it's exactly what I was looking for. It's something that's on the floor of the wash. It's a really nicely arranged area that has some kind of bluish white pebbles, some fallen leaves, some mud ripples as the mud itself is drying, so you get this sort of nice texture to it. And unlike the photo I shot earlier in this trip, on my first day where I was shooting photos where it was the maple leaf against the drying mud, I put the leaf there in that shot, but in this photo, I didn't do anything. Actually, one thing I did is I removed one leaf because it was kind of in the corner awkwardly, but I didn't add anything to it. And it was a little bit of a challenge to find a composition of the scene. But when I was looking at it on the ground glass, the composition kind of reminded me of the Milky Way. So if this shot turns out, I think I'm going to call it something along the lines of Zion's Milky Way, or I don't know, something along those lines, because all the fallen maple leaves look a bit like stars, and then kind of diagonally across a composition similar to how a lot of Milky Way shots are taken. But I exposed 2 sheets of Velvia 50, and hopefully I had a pretty good exposure on that one. It was in some pretty simple light, and I did have to do the little bit for reciprocity failure, but also for extending the bellows a little bit extra. But it's a pretty good day. I honestly didn't think I would be finding quite the subject, because I looked in several places and finally found a pretty productive area. I should also add that I did find a photo that I think would be good for tomorrow morning. And it's a composition that would do well for either early in the day or late in the day, just not at midday. So I'll be pretty excited to try for that shot tomorrow morning. And there was a photo I had mentioned a few days ago that I was hoping to get. It was right alongside the road. And I did set up for that today, just to kind of look at the scene, but my 450 lens is not long enough. So I think my goal on that is to put that aside for now. Maybe when I come back here in the wintertime, that shot will still be just fine and could be even better if I get some nice winter conditions, and get a 600mm lens between now and then so I can take that photo. But now I'm just kind of chilling here in the wash, end of the day, watching a little bit of a sunset and being serenaded by crickets all around me. So it's very calm in this area at the moment, which is quite nice. Clear skies today, and next couple days calls for a chance of rain, which will make things a little bit interesting, but with 16 sheets of film exposed so far in this trip, I'm doing pretty well. And well, I'm still pretty excited to get out there and find new subjects, because there's so much great stuff here on the east side, and I feel very happy that I've been very productive. But it's been a good day. If you love this content and want to help support my journey, you can do so by subscribing to my YouTube channel, telling a friend, or sending a contribution of just $24 a year via PayPal. I depend on the generous support of people like you to produce this ad-free content. Thanks in advance for your support.